Hi, this is Brian French with Antique Video News. If you're on YouTube, make sure that you visit our website, antiquevideonews.com, where you'll see all the different types of videos that we've created or have curated to give you the most in-depth knowledge and understanding of fine arts and antiques, spanning from Neolithic times to modern and contemporary art. So there's thousands of hours of videos. You'll find auction reviews like what we're doing today, but you'll also find other great resources and great videos for you to watch, love, and learn about fine art and antiques. So let's go to today's auction review. And this auction review is Rob Michiels, and he is a very, very noteworthy auctioneer in Asian art. He's based in Bruges, Belgium. And for many years, he's been somewhat of a go-to auction house for fine Chinese and Japanese art. This auction is going to be October the 16th and 17th. Today, we're going to be looking at the first auction. So in the next video, we'll look at part two. Let's jump in. The first piece is actually a Chinese kendi done in the Qianlong style. Now this is 9 inches in height. What's appealing here is that this is starting at just a very modest reserve of 250 euros. To be noted when you're buying overseas, expect to, when you're looking at the shipping charges, and also there'll be a delay in an item arriving, probably take several weeks for it if you're in the US to receive these items. But they do have good shipping companies that they'll refer you to. But shipping on an item like this, expect $250 to $300 just in shipping costs. But with that said, Rob Michiels and the ability to find high quality works, it could be years before, like a similar piece of this Qianlong kendi would become available in the United States. So when you want to up your game and up your collection, buying overseas and through Rob Michiels is a good bet. I have to, a note to everyone, I am not an expert in everything Chinese. I have only been following Chinese wares and dealing in them for 15 or 20 years, which is nowhere near long enough to actually build the expertise because it's so broad and deep. There's so many categories, from bronzes to silks to jades. I'm going to stick to my niche, which is ceramics and more of the mainstream type of collecting areas. But if you are looking for expertise in all Oriental and Chinese art, I would refer you to bitamount.com and Peter Combs, who is an expert in all things Asian art. Now, the great thing about what Peter does, and this is really a public service, is that you can go to his identification assistant service here and get 3 items, which he'll send you a video and authenticate items and give you a sense of their value, and really a tremendous resource. I use Peter for even items that I know about, just so I could say that he's authenticated an item. So again, bitamount.com, Peter Combs, check out his site. He is the expert, and I'm sure he'll do a video on the Rob Michiels sale as well. So let's go back to Rob Michiels. This form of kendi is a little bit unique. It resembles, as far as the shape, of actually a Japanese style. So they would go back and forth as far as copying each other. But I do have a number of kendis that I do have in my inventory. Here are the first 2 are Japanese kendis. And if you look at the top, it's very similar to the one that is certainly Chinese. And if you look down below, that is a Chinese kendi with the top having that form that's considerably different. So I would say that this is entirely authentic, Qianlong piece, high quality, nice painting. Looks to be in good condition. A little bit of discoloring around the tip of the spout here. No big deal. Nice piece. This starting at 250 euros. Kind of a no-brainer. Very interesting piece. One that you should be watching, if not bidding on. The second piece is what I would consider pretty rare teapot. Now, this teapot reminds me of the coffee pot that's on the cover of this Howard book. So you can see a similar, this one's got a duck, while the one at Rob Michiels got a dragon on the spout, but very similar, ornate. This one did come up for sale maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and I think it sold for $6,000 or $7,000. A catalog piece like this is very important. These books you would certainly want to get over time. I favor the dog-eared ones, the ones that, are banged up a little bit, just because I don't want to have a reference book that I got to handle very carefully. I've owned those before and I just don't want them. So buy one that's been used a little bit. They're cheaper. For some reason, my cats have an affection for this book. They put their cat hair on it. And that is, my cats are a bit of a liability when it comes to dealing in Chinese and Japanese ceramics. But let's move on to this piece. This piece is certainly high quality. The teapot is 6.5 inches in height. Just a classic design. It would be hard to find a teapot of this quality in the US without, going to Sotheby's or Christie's or waiting a year or two. So if you want to get your collection off to a great start and own a classic teapot, if you own the best or near best in a category, you don't need to go much further. So I know a lot of people, when they start collecting, they'll buy, a couple $100 pieces and they'll buy 10 or 15 of them. You should really consider buying a Hallmark piece and keeping it in your collection. That way you don't have to buy 5 of an item, none of which are truly a standout piece. But this certainly is. This teapot, again, it's 6.5 inches in height and is very beautiful. And so you want to look and check that out at Rob Michiels. The second item is one that a lot of you probably know about, which is the classic Pronk, Cornelius Pronk style. This is Japanese manufactured, so this is 18th century. Now, again, the Japanese and Chinese would copy from each other. If something became desirable and in demand, the Japanese would copy the Chinese. I do have in my inventory a Chinese version of the Pronk plate, and this one's an ormolu mount, but a very collectible. This one starts at 800 euros. The Japanese wares don't have the demand pull that the Chinese do, so I would imagine I wouldn't go much more than 1,000 or 1,100 euros on this. But if you need one to round out your collection, there are actually two in this auction. This one, it looks to be in very, very good condition. The other plate did have a slight chip and nick at the 1130 position on the rim, but this one looks clean. But call for a condition report on all these items, but a very attractive plate. The next item is a pair of Versailles European export, and this is Versailles, the Brothers Phillips. And this is Qinlong period, so 1780 or so. And what's nice about this is that these were obviously a custom order. Any Versailles plates pretty much were. They were done for the European taste, but they probably provided this engraving to the Chinese workshop that worked on it. There's a famous painting of the same genre. So these plates are very nice. These are 8.5 inches in diameter, but classic. What's appealing about these is that if you zoom in, they still have, look at how the condition on that gold gilding and border is so nice. Minimal wear, still can see the pale colors in the face, which usually gets faded. Excellent pair. These would be very, very hard to find in the US. You'd certainly pay a premium for them. And I think their starting price is very, very reasonable, 500 euros. I would expect these to go for close to $2,000 US. A similar pair, I went for that. They were marked back let's see, well, they sold a pair for about 2,000 US at Rob Michiels in the past. So you can see the old strategy of leave a bid on what you want would make sense. But two attractive plates, again, those are 8.5 inches in diameter. But one thing that I would mention when you're looking at auctions and if you're looking overseas and things are in centimeters, you want to use a tape measure. So you want to be able to have a tape measure in your hand and look, okay, that's 23 centimeters. What does that equals? Well, that equals 9 inches. So a tape measure is helpful. I also, when I look at items, I also look at my hand and to the tip of my finger here to the bottom of my thumb is about 7 inches. And so I always want to get a sense of how big an item is relative to what you see in a photograph, because you really can't tell. It just, sometimes you can buy a very large piece because people just miss the sense of size on an item. So use a tape measure. And there are also computer resources available. If you wanted to go to Google and type in centimeters to inches, it'll give you the exact amount. So that's a helpful tool. This next piece is very, very rare. So this is a Buddhist altar ornament, and this is from the Qianlong period. And this is obviously a very, very special item. What I would say is that this item was made for the domestic Chinese market. It's an altarpiece, right? It's a religious object. So this was not supposed to leave China, but it probably left pretty early because even during the Cultural Revolution, an item like this would have been destroyed because, interfered with the politics of the rule at the time. Super rare. You can see the lotus pattern here and the Buddhist symbol on top. Truly a unique piece. Looks to be in great condition. This would be something, this is kind of a buy of a lifetime. Does have the Qianlong mark on the bottom. Just very beautiful. Starting at 4,800 pounds. If you're an investor type and wanted to buy something super special, I expect the Chinese will be all over this item. And I wouldn't be surprised if it reached the 12,000 euro price. If this doesn't get there, I think over a period of time it would, as continued demand of domestic Chinese wares remains strong. So I wouldn't remark at many pieces being investments, but this one certainly would fall into that category. You will be spending a pretty significant amount of money, but you're getting a super rare object. This was never supposed to leave the domestic market. And it obviously is looks to be in excellent condition. Again, call for condition reports. Make sure that it hasn't been repaired. I'm sure they examine things over black light, so they would be able to help you along and tell you any condition issues. But super special piece. The next item is a charger. Now, this is somewhat of a famous pattern of the mating carp here. Now, this is early Ming. This is Hongshu period, which is, we're looking at basically the 15th century here. So these are, over 500 years old. What makes this appealing is that it is certainly early, but it's big. This is 12.5 inches in size. So instead of I've owned a number of Ming pieces of this period, but not anything quite this big. So this would again fall into kind of an investment piece. If you want to own an early Ming piece, you could be one and done on this too. So again, it is 12.5 inches in diameter, classic mating carp pattern. Starts what I think at a modest price of 950 euros. If it got to $2,000, wouldn't surprise me. Again, if you like it, leave a bid at what you think is fair. The next item is a Kangxi Famiver charger. Now this charger is 14.5 inches in diameter, a big charger. it would be hard, very hard to find in the US without going to Christie's or Sotheby's or an exclusive shop to find a large Femi-Vere charger of this type. And obviously it's a flower basket pattern, but the quality of the colors are very, very nice. Very strong colors. We'll zoom in a little bit here. Just classic. Foliate rim. Looks to be in very, very good condition. Again, call for a condition report. On the back, it has the Artisma symbol and the classic beige foot rim that would indicate it's Kangxi. So a great piece, very rare, worth spending, it's worth having this charger versus 4 or 5 smaller chargers. But if you have to get something smaller, here's one that is a 10-inch charger. Now you can see the colors on this one quite aren't as brilliant as the previous one, but this one starts at 500 euros. This is 10.5 inches in diameter. Very nice piece. Again, signed with the Artismo flower on the back, and would be a nice addition to any kind of beginner collector. I would say that the volume of the Femi-Vere pattern, it's compared to the Femi Rose, it's probably like 10 to 1 as far as scarcity. So you would see 10 Femi Rose plates of this type for one of the Femi-Vere. So, they're all rare, and this would be a great addition to a collector. The last piece is, again, one that would fall into the kind of investment category. This is a Kangxi Chinese Amari with a Vere peony scroll vase and covered. This looks beautiful to me. Now, this is 23 inches in height. So this one's going to cost you a bundle to get shipped back. I would suggest putting the lid in a different box. Just reduce the weight, but expect to pay $400 or $500 for this to be shipped to the US, in my opinion. And I would never quibble about shipping charges, because you don't want to ask for a bargain in shipping and then for them to go with a smaller box and to have a disaster happen. So whatever they quote you, again, get a couple competitive quotes from the shipping companies that they offer. But this is a very, very good piece. The design is just so classic, would be a hallmark piece in any home, and just as beautifully done. I would expect that there's going to be a lot of interest in this piece because of its size and quality and just classic artwork. I wouldn't be surprised if it reached $6,000 or $7,000 US. But with that said, you never know. I've left bids on pieces at Rob Michiels before, and I was the only bidder. So if you like pieces, leave a bid, and you can leave multiple bids, but make sure that you can cover your bids. So this is the Rob Michiels auction. This is the October 16th auction. You can follow it on invaluable.com. This is Brian French with Antique Video News. Again, we remind you to visit our website, antiquevideonews.com, where you can watch this video and many that are very similar to it, auction reviews, as well as thousands of hours on fine art and antiques. Thank you and have a great day.